Hello, welcome to Unboxed God, where we detox from religion and discover the God who refuses to fit inside the boxes we were given. I'm Tolu Sarah Johnson, and here we explore who God really is, beyond fear, beyond formulas, and beyond everything we were taught to perform. If you're hungry for a real relationship with Him, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. So this is going to be Commandment 27, which is invite the poor to eat with you. Yes, invite the poor to eat with you. This is a very interesting commandment. And Jesus is not really asking you to give food. This commandment is not about food. It's about who you make space for in your life. When we look at the Bible verse for this commandment, it says, when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. So it's easy for you to narrow this commandment down to food. But it's just not about food. It's about how we welcome people that are in need, how we make space for them in our day-to-day living. Meals in Jesus' time were symbols of acceptance, belonging, honor, friendship. To eat with someone was to say, you're welcome in my world. And Jesus is asking you to intentionally welcome into your world the people society keeps outside of it. So I remember listening to a lady on YouTube, and she said in their culture, when you are celebrating your wedding, you invite the poor, the needy, the people that you don't know, and you feed them. She's a Muslim. And I was so impressed by that. I'm thinking, I've never heard of that. So even people outside of Christianity, they understand that commandment at such a deeper level. And the people we really make room for, this is what Jesus is talking about this commandment, because these people are the people we really make room for: the poor, the disabled, the socially awkward, the lonely, the struggling, the ones who make others uncomfortable. Not because they are bad people, but because they are inconvenient. And this is the quiet truth Jesus exposes. We don't usually exclude people out of hatred. We exclude them out of discomfort. And what this looks like today, you may never host a literal banquet. You may never have a wedding where you have to invite people you don't know. But this commandment is fulfilled when you buy a meal for someone who cannot return the favor. When you sit and eat with a homeless person instead of handing them coins and walking away. When you invite the lonely person to your table. When you make room for someone who will never be invited anywhere else. Share time, conversation, dignity, not just charity. This is not charity. This is shared humanity. And when you look at it from that perspective, you see things in a different way. So I want our eyes to be open to needs around us in ways that are beyond us. You will not necessarily find somebody knocking at your door. You might not necessarily find somebody knocking at your door saying, I'm hungry. But you can find people in different situations that can mirror what Jesus wants you to do here. Like I've just read in news this morning about a parent in my children's school whom have just been diagnosed with breast cancer. And These are all full of parents that are not Christians. And immediately, the lady that posted it said, it will be very grateful if we can make food for her, and anyone that need to prepare food, they can bring it to her, she'll deliver. And people are rising up to the occasion. And there I'm thinking, what can I cook for this person? Because definitely I'm thinking I can't bring my culture food. But I started thinking, ruminating. So that's someone that will never repay it back to me rather. So you need to think outside of the box. I want you to look at this analogy, the table with reserved seats. Imagine your life as a dining table. There are seats reserved for family, friends, people like you, people you enjoy. Jesus is asking you to place a reserved sign on a seat for someone you will never naturally invite. And that's where this commandment lives. And the most profound thing for me is these same parents were the ones that cook when I lost my husband. And for the first 6 weeks or so, they were bringing in food every day. These are Samaritans. These are people that will go out of their way to bless other people. So this is not about being a Christian or not being a Christian. What God is calling us into is to be human, to be compassionate, to be loving. And why Jesus emphasizes those who cannot repay you? Because most human kindness is transactional. Yes, we're so transactional to not just to ourselves, but transactional to God as well. Somebody messaged me yesterday on Messenger, and the person said, Joel Austin, the gospel prosperity preacher, asked a question on Korah, Q-U-O-R-A, which was how best to serve God to get your prayers answered. And I told the person, did you answer him? Because he should know better. And he responded, yes, I did. I'm not sure that he would like my answer, something like that. And I responded back, are we even serving God to get our prayers answered? It is a transactional question. And that is where the problem is. They tell you to serve God so he can answer your prayer. And that is such a wrong question to ask in the first place. Maybe you can educate him. I'm telling this person, he can educate him. So, and he said, my answer included that we should serve God willingly and not for what you can get in return. I said that prayer should be heartfelt without any expectation. And I responded, absolutely. So, when you approach God with a transactional mindset, how much more people? A lot of people only want to do favor to those people that they're going to get something in return. And Jesus is saying, don't only do. This message that I'm preaching here is inconvenient to me. I can easily do my normal audio recording and then turn it into a book. This is more strenuous. And the first two messages, the second message I'm doing today, I'm really struggling a little bit because it's like I'm out of tune already. I'm not really necessarily in the mood, but it's God's work. So it is me giving to him. But I'm not expecting him to return something back to me. So you want to serve God, you want to love people, it will inconvenience you. And you need to be able to see people that you are going to help, that they will not be those that can help you later. Don't help those that make you feel good. Don't help those who improve your image. Don't just help those who belong to your circle. You can help all of these people, but don't stop at that. Jesus removes repayment as a condition for love. When someone cannot repay you, your motive is revealed. Yes, you are no longer giving for advantage. You are giving from love. So, the blessing Jesus mentioned, the blessing is not financial. It might not be financial. It might be financial, but there are greater blessings. A softened heart. You'll be blessed with a softened heart, with a widened compassion, with a deeper awareness of others, and with internal rewards stored where no one sees. So you begin to resemble God's heart. And that is what Jesus cares about. When you can resemble his heart, that's when you've matured. When you can start seeing situations the way he sees it, that's how you've matured. Because the real obstacle, the biggest barrier is not lack of money, it is judgment. We label people addict, lazy, unwise, different, not my responsibility. And those labels become our permission to walk past them. So Jesus removes the label and leaves only one thing: need. Forget about who that person is, just focus on their need. So, learning to see what we normally miss. Most people walk through life blind to need. You pass the struggling parent, the isolated widow, the quiet person in the church, the person who never gets invited anywhere. You don't see them because you are not looking for them. This commandment teaches us to train our eyes to notice needs. So, how can you practicalize this? You begin to live differently when you carry small cash intentionally to give. When you look for opportunities to seed, not just to give, not just give to the poor. Volunteer in places where brokenness is visible. Offer meals, coffee, conversation, dignity. Make your table a place of inclusion. You don't wait to be asked. You learn to notice before the request comes. And what this does to your heart is when you regularly sit with people who cannot repay you, your pride weakens, your compassion strengthens, your view of people changes, and your love becomes less selective. You stop loving from comfort, you start loving from conviction. So the quiet question this commandment asks is, look at your life honestly. Who has eaten at your table recently? And more importantly, who has never been invited? So as we close, I want us to close with this final thought. Jesus is not asking you to host events. He's asking you to live with an open table. Because the measure of love is not who you naturally include, but who you intentionally make room for. I hope you've been blessed by this commandment. I shall see you in Commandment 28. God bless.